Now, coming up next, how would you feel if you were told you didn't look right for your chosen profession? Or, worse, your chances of succeeding are slim because you're a woman or have the wrong colour skin. It might sound like something you would have heard decades ago, but those are the kinds of things some university students are still hearing today, believe it or not. A survey of more than 2,000 students across the UK has found sexist and often discriminatory advice is being given by some employers, fellow professionals, even family and friends to those just starting out on the career ladder. So just how damaging is this sort of advice and what effect is it having on students? In the studio with us, James Uffindell from the Bright Network. It's a network connecting graduates and employers. They also carried out the survey. Postgraduate student Reesha, she ended up studying English literature at university, not economics, which is what she really wanted to do because of careers advice she was given. Also with us, third-year undergraduate economics student Kiran, who says negative comments about women not being able to achieve have made her more determined to succeed. And lastly, Readha, who is a 20-year-old maths student from Bristol. She says she's fighting to make it in the male-dominated world of finance and receives negative advice regularly. Thank you all very much for joining us. James, first of all, I mean, one of the real crackers was somebody being told, marry the boss.
Yeah, absolutely, Joanna. We've just released our latest research at Bright Network, which is here with me, and it's shocking, quite frankly, the state of careers advice. There's lots of work being done, but the point is we need to do a lot more. We've got 500,000 graduates coming out of UK universities this year, but still 50% of graduate employers don't fill all their vacancies. So the clients we work with, about 250 top employers like kind of McKinsey, PwC, etc., they want to find the very best talents, but they're struggling because this talent doesn't know about what it can do. So every year in the UK, we've got about 7-8% graduate unemployment rate, but in Germany, it's only 2%. And with Brexit happening, we're wasting some really, really valuable resource for the country.
Reesha, I said that you wanted to study, you've ended up studying English literature rather than what you actually wanted to study. Why was that? Was that because of things that you were told?
Yeah, so it was down to advice I was given at college, so not at university. Before I'd even considered going to university, I was told that a person like me, a woman like me, wouldn't ever make it in the finance and banking industry.
What did that mean? I mean, what did you take that to mean?
I just took it to mean, well, this person didn't really know much about me. All they knew is my age, my ethnicity and my gender. So I assumed what they meant was that something to do with that was the reason that I wouldn't make it in that industry. And they said...
It had an effect.
Yeah, it did. And they said to me that teaching would be the easier route for you. And that's why I didn't think at the time that I would be able to do economics. And so I chose English literature. I still loved my degree anyway, but I think that advice so early on at such an influential age really steered me off the path that I really wanted to go down.
Kiran, you've had negative comments. Just tell us the sort of things you've heard.
So if you think, you're talking to people in a casual conversation and you drop that you're doing an internship in banking or going to a spring week or a banking networking event, and someone would just in passing make a comment saying, oh, but I didn't think you were the type for banking, and you just look back and think, didn't know there was a type, and I didn't know that I don't fit it in your eyes. And
are these more generic comments or coming from careers advisors?
Not just careers advisors, they've come generally from people who you think of friends or people that you just meet at various events, people at university, just very generally, and sometimes they don't seem to come across quite directed but sort of happen in passing, intended with kind of some humour attached as well.
Readha, I think at one stage you were told to be prepared to hit a ceiling in your career. Who told you that?
So actually family friends, when my mum actually tells them what degree I'm doing at university, they're quite taken aback, and they kind of tell her that why she's studying so hard when she's just going to end up having children or starting a family, and all of that's going to go to waste. So yeah, they say that I need to be prepared to make a decision whether I want my career or whether I want to start a family, and that's...
What about careers advice? Have you had helpful careers advice, formal advice? Because that's obviously individuals' perspectives, then not involved in advising you in your career.
Yeah, so my careers advice, my school has been really supportive.
Right.
They've always pushed girls to go into sciences, STEM subjects, making sure that they are kind of making their way in a male-dominated sector. So. But I actually had a lady who told me once that I should be prepared to hit a glass ceiling because she she had to make a choice as well when she got to the age, and I will need to do the same thing when I...
And that was a careers advisor?
Yeah.
And how did that make you feel?
I was quite taken aback because I've never really felt any different because of my gender. My mum has always raised me and my brothers up really equally. I've always been, you know, really sporty, been part of the Air Cadets, and then suddenly having a woman tell me that I will need to make a decision and I can't have it both is quite shocking, really.
James, I know with the research you sought the views of men and women.
Absolutely.
Did many men have examples of terrible careers advice, or does it seem to be a female thing?
The more shocking elements definitely came out from the women. There was a bit with the men, but the more shocking things, for example, one of our members was told, you know, you don't basically you don't need a career. You're a pretty girl. Just marry the boss and live off him. Which, if you think about it, is an absolutely shocking thing.
You don't have to think that hard about that. That's shocking.
Yeah, and another one was told, as a black female, you'll never become a successful lawyer. So it was really, when we saw this, we were really absolutely amazed. And it also comes through in other ways. For example, sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, who is actually kind of monitoring the sort of advice that's
Nobody.
the comments that are being made?
Yeah, in terms of from a kind of governmental
Formalising,
organisation.
yes, the careers advice that there
there's
is.
a lot of good work going on, absolutely, in the sector, but fundamentally, a lot more needs to be done around this. And this is why I set up Right Network. I was so passionate about it. And they're, you know, essentially you leave school, you're sent off to university, and then it's kind of, well, like, you know, what next? There are career services, a lot of them doing very good work, but putting that kind of network around that really gives that individual advice is key, and that's what we try to do at Bright Network. And one of the things we did see in terms of male and female is that women, female undergraduates are expecting a starting salary around 30k, whereas men are expecting a starting salary around 40k. So it's already, there's a 10k disparate difference. And also men...
Why is that? Why is there that assumption?
It's a very good question. I think ultimately, kind of nobody knows. My sense is it's a qualitative thing around this kind of advice we're seeing here that people are getting around. We need to get female students believing, as the men often do, that, you know, this idea that they can strive for the kind of really big careers.
Have any of you had examples of being told what you might expect to be paid compared to men?
I've just been told that I'd have to work harder to get kind of like reaching the same salary as male peers.
Who told you that?
That was a teacher at school, said that I would just have to work harder and really make sure that I did my job well to get the same level of pay.
Either of you?
So I've had some sort of advice and comments made where they say, not at the early age, but later on, especially when you think about having a family and you want to balance your work, your home life, you know, looking after children, all of that, you're going to have to work a lot harder at that stage to try and progress in the same way that men do. Men don't have to take these things into consideration, but it's something that you would have to take into account.
Yeah, similarly, I've been told that bosses tend to not invest in women because they assume that they're going to go off and have a family. So they would rather progress and give promotions or a pay rise to men. So I shouldn't be expecting the same thing.
Reesha, I said that the things that you were told early on did impact on your choices.
Yeah.
Where are you now with how you're feeling and seeing everything?
I think when I was told it at that early age, I was only 15, 16, I think at that time I took it really seriously, but now I've kind of understood what they meant and how I shouldn't really pay attention to that. I should just succeed and do what I want to do. So I do a master's in management now, and I've secured a graduate job for September. So I think I've kind of just pushed it aside, and I've realised that I just need to work hard at what I do and be the best I can be.
Thank you all very much for coming in. Thank you.
Thank you.